Now we're going to look at the main concepts of geography of South Asia. Basically, this region is an important region, but it's a region a lot of us know little about. 1/5 of the world's population is here, and it is the southern part of Asia. If you look on this map here, you can see India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh are the main regions that we'll be looking at. We did Europe and the Middle East, and now we're moving into this region. You can see on the map, here are the countries: India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Don't forget the Maldives down here. I'll briefly mention what's going on in that region. Himalayas are up in this region here, and then you have the Hindu Kush over in this region. But over in here, there's a lot of low-lying areas to produce a lot of farming, and in Bangladesh you see that as well. You can see a better view of the Himalayas right here and the Hindu Kush. First thing you need to know, and something most of you probably already know, Mount Everest, the largest mountain in the world. It's located in South Asia, a little over 29,000 feet. I'm going to be introducing you later on to a region called Kashmir. It's a geographically interesting place, a lot of mountains in the northern part. It's located up in this region right here, and Kashmir is being disputed between India and Pakistan. For this section, I really want to focus on how geography impacts people of South Asia, and this is just a rare example of where you can see the obvious of geography here. These are Buddhist monks. They want to be isolated from the world, so they build a monastery on the side of a cliff. That's a nice image of geography and its impact and how we use geography to influence the way we live. Talking about size, South Asia is about half the United States. You can get a good idea here. India is a little bit more than the size of Texas, but keep in mind 1/5 of the population of the world is located in this region, so you can get a good idea later on that the population density is pretty intense. Okay, here's the first things that you definitely need to know pertaining to a global spectrum of South Asia. You got to know the monsoons. These are seasonal winds. Summer monsoons are bringing winds from the water, and that creates a lot of heat. We're talking 120 degrees of heat and a lot of rain. Forrest Gump in the movie, you saw him walking in Vietnam, and all of a sudden it starts raining. He talks about stinging rain, sideways rain, rain coming upside down, big old fat rain. That's just part of the monsoon with the summer monsoon, and it just rains and rains for a good 8 months. And then the winter monsoon is the complete opposite. It's completely dry, and the winds blow back into the ocean. Ask this guy how summer monsoons and how geography impacts the way he lives. You can see this intense rain here. He's trying to drag a rickshaw through the water. He's definitely impacted. Summer monsoons are vital because they bring rain for the crops. If 1/5 of the population is going to be living in South Asia, they're going to need a lot of food, and these summer monsoons bring a lot of food. When a summer monsoon becomes intense, they end up becoming cyclones. They're fierce winds. And Bangladesh was hit in 1991 where over 140,000 people were killed. I'd be up in this region over here. So these are like hurricanes, and they're very intense. And another interesting geographical dealing with weather impact of South Asia is called rain shadows. The summer monsoon keeps coming across India, and then it hits the mountains like the Himalayas. And as the air cools, it has to drop all its moisture to get over the mountain. So let's go up here. So if you see in this region here, they're going to get a lot of rain because the summer monsoons come, hit the mountains, and they got to go up over these mountains, and it drops a lot of moisture. And in this area over here in China, the Gobi Desert, it ends up as very, very dry, and that's because of these summer monsoons and the effect of the rain shadow. Cherrapunji, India gets 425 inches of rain a year, where New York City gets 45. New York City gets a lot of rain. Check that out. That's pretty intense, the amount of rain that they get. Let's go into population. You can see the population is very dense all throughout, especially Bangladesh and into the regions of India compared to many other countries. There's over 1 billion people. I want you to know India has technically more than 1.1 billion. This is a little old data. I want you to know it's the second most populated nation in the world, next to China. And the population density, I want you to be aware of. Population density is the number of people living in a given region. Here you can see number of people per square kilometer. That's a little smaller than a mile. Here you can see United States population density. If you take all of the United States and the number of people, we don't have a large population density. We have a lot of regions where no one lives. Yes, we have New York City, but New York City isn't all of the United States. So if you take all the land of the United States and all the people and average it out, we have a low population density. But look at Bangladesh. Bangladesh is definitely one of the most, if not the most populated, dense nation in the world. And they are very crowded. There's a YouTube clip if you just type Bangladesh slum or Bangladesh cities. You can see that the population density is so high, and one reason is because of the poverty. These people are living in houses the size of one room, if that, and they're living in these really small regions, and they're just crowding in a whole bunch of people, causing a high population density. And many people are moving into the cities to find work with the growing industrial revolution that's kicking in India and Bangladesh with new industrial jobs and new work, and we'll talk about that later on. I do want you to know by 2030 India will reach the most populated country in the world, and it's going to just keep growing and growing and growing. The population density is going to increase as well as the total population density. China's going to even out and then start going down. And we'll talk about why that is going to happen when we get into China. I want you to be aware of something called the Green Revolution. I want you to be aware that through the 60s, American scientists and scientists elsewhere genetically modified seeds and created better seeds that could grow quicker and better, and that increased farming production by 30%. It's a big deal because it prevents famine and people are no longer starving as much, and there's enough food to go around, causing the population, as you see here, to dramatically increase. One thing that India geographically is dealing with is India is looked at a bunch as more of a, to the people of India, a lot of them look at India not as necessarily a nation, but a whole collection of states. And in India there's a lot of states, and in these states are different languages. India is not homogeneous. That means one identity. They have a lot of different cultures, a lot of different languages, and they have a lot of different dialects. Dialects are a variety of languages in a particular language family. So in this red area, there's dialects of different languages. In the green area, there's dialects of different Indo-European languages. So be aware that there's hundreds, maybe thousands of different languages, pockets of dialects of languages in India, and that they do not have a unified language because the geography, the cultural geography is so strong. I want you to know Hindi is the most popular language, but check it out, only 30% of the people speak it. And English is becoming a unifying language in many places, especially in the cities. Real quick, talk about geography. There's a small group of islands called the Maldives. Let me show you over here. They're over here. They're low-lying islands in the Arabian Sea into the Indian Ocean. And the Maldives are really dealing with the threat of rising ocean levels. And if the ocean levels continue to rise, the Maldives are, these thousands of small pockets of islands, archipelago, are threatened to be engulfed by the waters and become extinct. And the Maldives are building seawalls, but they can only build so many because it costs so much money. It's a popular resort area, and it's being considered as a threat. So there it is, South Asia, geography, pretty simple, pretty short. We did the map. I'm sure you did well on that. But here's some, just keep your eye on different things. And we'll see how Pakistan, India, and we'll get into the history, we'll get into the religions, how Hinduism is in India, and then Buddhism came in and spread around. We'll get into all some of the deeper stuff later on. This is just a rough overview of the geography.